Hey guys, just before I start this video, just want to say I do stream on Twitch, so please do check out the link here or click the link in the video description to take you to my channel. Hopefully you can interact with us, play some games with us, and maybe talk phones. Anyway, enjoy the video. The Nexus 5 and the Nexus 6 are two of my favourite phones, with two very different designs but one huge similarity. Hi guys, my name is Ryan Thompson with Failtech, and this is my head-to-head comparison between the Nexus 5 and the Nexus 6 in 2017. So to start with, let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way. The Nexus 5 is made by LG, and that means that boot looping is inevitable, especially in the long term. But with that out of the way, let's dive into the ages and prices. So the Nexus 5 and the Nexus 6 came out in the Novembers of 2013 and 2014 respectively, and will both be easily bought for under £200, but check pricing and availability in links in the video description now for the UK and the US. The designs of these phones are astronomically different, with the 5 coming in plastic all round. It's got this soft touch finish on it that I personally do really like, however it can get beaten up pretty quickly. It does feel good in the hand and it's not huge, which means the ergonomics are certainly better than those on the Nexus 6. Talking of the Nexus 6, we've got a much nicer feeling phone IMO with a lovely metal surround and rubbery plastic on the back that's curved and feels really nice. My hands are between small and medium size for a man, and so Nexus 6 definitely feels big in my hand, but it's manageable, and I actually really like the form factor of a 6-inch phone, even if it's not quite as pocketable as the 5-inch phone. The screens on these devices are in completely different classes. We're comparing a near enough 5-inch 1080p IPS Plus panel on the Nexus 5 to a 6-inch QHD AMOLED display on the Nexus 6. I think you can already tell which one I prefer, and if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know I'm a sucker to that kind of technology. The sheer size and sharpness of that 6-inch panel paired with a really nice pair of front-firing speakers make the content consumption on the 6 just excellent. The Nexus 5 is, again, a bit more usable in terms of its size, and so that's why I think a lot of people will be swayed towards that. Overall, if you pick the Nexus 5, you'll get better colour reproduction accuracy and viewing angles, and if you pick the Nexus 6, you'll get a much larger overall display with a higher resolution, more vivid colours, better contrast and black levels, and a brighter display making outdoor use just a little bit easier. Neither of the cameras are special, but they're significantly different in specification than each other. So we've got an 8MP f2.4 combo on the Nexus 5 with the ability to shoot 1080p video, blah 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 blah, OIS which produces some good shots, okay. But it's certainly not the best in the world. Compared to the 13MP f2.0 combo on the Nexus 6, which shoots UHD video with OIS, which is a nice touch. I think I'm harsh on the Nexus 6. It's nowhere near the iPhone 6 or Galaxy S5 quality, but it's actually pretty good, and that cool ring flash design is something I really like. As for the secondary cameras, we have a 1.3MP camera on the 5 and a 2MP camera on the 6. This means that selfies aren't sharp and they're not wide, but they'll do. The performance specifications aren't as different as you might think. We have a Snapdragon 800 and 2GB of RAM on the Nexus 5, which is good, but as I explained in a review I did a few weeks ago, 2GB of RAM probably isn't going to keep you going all that long, especially with new OSs being really RAM heavy. Windows 10, okay, that might be desktop, but you know what I mean. As for the Nexus 6, we have a Snapdragon 805 with 3GB of RAM, which IMO is going to be much more stable over time in the coming years, which means that it's more future-proof. I was expecting to see an 810 in the 6, but we don't need to get into that. Nevertheless, everyday apps, multitasking and gaming is a breeze on both of these devices. No need to worry about running any apps, because they'll all run fairly smoothly. The software, the huge similarity between two of these. Both are rocking stock Android, which I preach is the best way to run Android. The difference is that you are getting a purely Android experience with no Samsung or LG or HTC gimmicks that you'll get on those phones. Now, it will be 6.0 Marshmallow on the Nexus 5 and 7.0 Nougat on the Nexus 6, meaning that the 6 is going to give you an extra year of support, which is really nice to see and it's really useful to have. The standby times with doze are really good on both of these. Both of these will get you through the day and maybe 5% or 10% at tea time. For you spec monkeys, the Nexus 5 has a 2300 mAh cell and the Nexus 6 has a 3220 mAh cell, which will do respectively well in their given chassis. And as for standby time, these two phones will last you almost a week on standby in a drawer, because they did for me. The Nexus 6 speakers are amazing, a pair of front-firing stereo speakers that really complement the 6-inch panel, like I said before. These are some of the best speakers you can get in a smartphone, and if you're a big content consumer, then I would wholeheartedly recommend you get the Nexus 6. This is my favourite setup of speakers and screen in any phone ever. amazing. And the Nexus 5 has a rather underwhelming buffering firing unit, but I don't think we'll get into that. You get top mounted headphone jacks on both, as well as micro USB B 2.0 ports. Not really much else to it. A viewer mentioned that you do get an FC on the Nexus 5, which I do apologise, I did say you couldn't get an FC on these, but you can. And you get Qi wireless charging on both too, which is great. Neither have a fingerprint scanner, which is a bummer, but at least it's a fair match between the two at this point. Conclusion time. I love both of these phones, but I rely too much on having a fingerprint scanner, so I think I'd have to go for the 5X or the 6P, which are the successors to both of these. But I think the Nexus 6 is my favourite phone of all time. So yeah, that puts it into a bit of perspective. Thanks for watching, guys. Please do like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked, along with leaving your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. I've been Ryan Thomas with Failtech, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.